Hello everyone, my name is Abhishek and welcome back to my channel. Today is day 2 of Python for DevOps series and I hope you all have followed day 1, which is Introduction to Python for DevOps. Last class lays a foundation for today's class because we have learned how and why Python is used by DevOps engineers, what are the different use cases, and finally we have also learned how to install and configure Python. If you haven't done that, please do that because in today's video, we are going to understand what exactly is a data type. We will learn different types of data types in Python. Then we will deep dive into strings and numeric data types. We will learn about some functions on these data types, the inbuilt functions. And I will also teach you basics of regular expressions in Python. Not just that, there is also a bunch of examples that I have created for you people so that you can learn all the concepts that I'm teaching practically, right? So there are 13 examples that I've written and it took a lot of time for me. So please follow the video till the end because if you are not following this till the end, you will not understand the concepts practically, right? Okay. Now, before I deep dive into the topic, there is one common question which I wanted to address. That is, do you have anything additional for members only group? Or there is a join button on the channel and why should I join the channel? So let me make it very clear. Members only do not have any additional videos, but it is something that has a special dedicated doubts clearing group. So if you want to participate in the doubts clearing group, then there is a link in the description and there are 250 other learners who can help you, as well as if there are any questions where nobody can explain you, I will also try to pitch in and help you with the doubts that you face while executing our videos. Perfect. Let's start with understanding what exactly is a data type. Let's take example of Python itself. So let's say you are writing a Python program. So you wrote a file with .py as an extension. And in the file, you just wrote something called Abhishek. Now, because you are a human being, you can read it and you can understand that I wrote something called Abhishek. But for compilers or interpreters, right? When you execute this Python program, you know, they consider it as a data only, right? Anything that you write in a file is a data for a compiler or interpreter. Whether you are writing Abhishek or you are writing a number called 6 or you are writing some other different kinds of things. Let's say you are writing 6.3, 7.2. Everything is a data for compilers or programs. Now they need to understand what is the type of this data, right? So that's the reason why every programming language has data types. For example, programming languages have data types like strings, integers, float, etc., etc. Now, depending upon programming languages, there are different set of data types. Now, specifically talking about Python, so Python's data types are categorized into string data type, then you have numeric data type, and within numeric, again, you have integer and float. Don't worry, I'll explain in detail, right? What exactly these are, how does compiler understand if you're using a string data type or numeric data type? Just give me a minute. Then you have bunch of sequence data types, right? Where again you have here list, tuple. Now, if you feel that Abhishek, you are just writing it after this, if I want to refer, right? Then don't worry, there is clear notes available, right? You can refer everything in this GitHub repository. So again, here I have provided in data types, you have numeric, sequence, mapping, set data types, Boolean, everything is available in this particular file so that you can refer afterwards. So like I told you, you have sequence and then you have mapping data types, right? Then you have Boolean. So these are some of the frequently used data types in Python. Of course, there are others, but these are some things that we use frequently. Now, what are these data types and how does compiler understand when you write Abhishek? How does compiler understand that it's a string data type? When you write 6, how does it understand that it's an integer data type? When you write 6.3, how does it understand that it's a float data type? So let's try to understand that. So for compiler to understand that, the only way to understand is using a syntax. What does syntax mean? Syntax means how you are declaring that particular variable or how you are writing that particular value. So if you just write Abhishek, compiler does not understand that you are writing a string. You need to put that in double quotes or a single quote. When you put these things inside a double quote or single quote, then Python understands that, oh, okay, so this person is writing a list of characters or string. So string is also called as list of characters because A is a character, B is a character, right? So that's why it's called list of characters. Then if you are writing a number directly, right? Then Python will understand that, okay, this guy has written a integer data type. If you are writing that in decimals, then Python will consider it as a float data type. You don't have to declare explicitly in Python. Let's say you are writing this in Go language. There you have to say var, you know, let's say you are writing something called Abhishek, or you are declaring something. There you have to provide that you are writing a variable. This is the name of the variable and this is the type. That is, this is the data type. But in Python, you don't do that explicitly. You just write it, right? So how Python identifies? Using the syntax only. This type of programming languages are called as dynamically typed programming languages, right? What are they called? Dynamic typed or dynamically typed programming languages. You will get this question during the interviews. Is Python statically typed or dynamically typed, right? So when I teach about variables, you will understand this even in a better way. Right now, let's not focus on it, but because we are here, I was thinking of just touching that topic. Right now, just understand that there are string data types, there are numeric data types, there are sequence data types, mapping, Boolean, and we will cover all of these data types in our classes. In sequence data types, we have list, tuples. In mapping data types, you have dictionary. Here you also have sets. And then here you have in Boolean data type, right? Boolean is basically one single data type. We will cover these things going ahead because this needs some additional knowledge on Python. But for now, we will learn about strings and integers, right? Now you might think that Abhishek, you just explained that if I have to write a string, then I just have to write in a double quote, right? And if I have to write a number, I can directly write the number. Now, what I need to learn more. So Python as a programming language has some inbuilt functions. Okay. Again, what does that mean? Right? So basically, programming languages like Java, Python, Go language, all of them have some inbuilt functions. That is, let's say that I'll give you a very basic example. Okay. Let's say that you have written a string called Abhishek.Veeramalla. Okay. Or you got this string from someone. Now they will tell you that, okay, I don't want the full name. Just get me only the first name. That is, let's say you are given a task to write a Python program where you will be given a list of employee names which has all the full names. Okay. That is Abhishek.Veeramalla, Chetan Pandey, etc. etc. And your task is to just print the first name. Okay. So you will be given a file with list of full names and you will be asked to just retrieve only the first names. Now, what you will do in this case, that is you will write a Python program because these are strings. You can use the inbuilt functions on Python. So whenever you write Python programs, this is very, very important to understand. Whenever you write a program, it can be Python, Java or something. First thing that you have to search is that are there any inbuilt functions to execute my action so that you don't have to write much code. Okay. So Python as a programming language supports multiple inbuilt function. Here Python has an inbuilt function called, you can just write whatever the string it is, followed by dot split, and in the split you can just provide a space. Now what it will do, Python will understand that okay, this guy is using my inbuilt function. Don't worry, I will show you this practically as well. For now, just understand that every programming language has some inbuilt functions, and whenever you are assigned with a task, first search for inbuilt functions, because these inbuilt functions are written and managed by Python itself. Okay. So if you are writing your custom functions, then you have to make sure that it is working, it is tested properly. So the advantage of using inbuilt functions is you don't have to maintain it, right? For example, if you want to write a loop, I know we did not come to a concept till loop, but Python programming languages have inbuilt for loops, while loops, right? Or you want to do this action that I told you, that whenever you are given this particular name, you want to split and get only first name, then you can use this inbuilt functions. Now, for each data type, okay, so understand here, for each data type, that is for strings, for numeric data types, for sequence data types, that is list, tuple, anything, or for sets, maps, for each data type in Python, you have inbuilt functions, and you need to learn these inbuilt functions. In interviews, whenever they are asking you to write the programs, the first thing that you would do is use the inbuilt function. And when they say that, okay, apart from this, can you do it in different way? Then you might have to write a program without using inbuilt functions, but always learn the inbuilt functions of each and every data type, right? That is very, very important. And you might be asking, but Abhishek, from where will I know what are the different data types? Don't worry, that is available in our notes, and we will touch that right away. For example, if strings is an option, right? String is a data type, and for string, what are the different types of data types? Sorry, what are the different types of inbuilt functions I have provided here? And you can also try all the different types of inbuilt functions using examples. This is amazing, right? For strings, you have, these are the inbuilt functions, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Of course, there are many other, but these are the most commonly used. And for each of these inbuilt functions, I wrote a program. You can execute this, you can try out, right? We will try out few things, but after that, your exercise is to try out all the inbuilt functions, right? That's how you will learn the programming languages in much better way. Now, you might think that Abhishek, you give an example that let's say there is a file that is given to me with, sorry, with list of names, that is list of full names, and I am asked to write a Python program to split and give only the first names. That is, if there is an employee called Abhishek.Veeramalla, I have to just print the first name called Abhishek. So you said this is the task, but can you explain this real time from the DevOps point of view? This is a very basic example that you have given. Sure. Let me explain that. So as a DevOps engineer, you, let's say, working with Amazon, that is AWS. Okay. And you know that in AWS, this is a real-time task I'm explaining you. So in AWS, you have a ARN for each of these things, right? That is Amazon resource number, right? So for each of the resource, you have a resource number. Let's say you can go to the Amazon website as well. You can just search for Amazon ARN. Okay. So Amazon resource names, sorry, not numbers. So for Amazon resource name, this is a format that you get, right? If you take a particular example, if you're talking about IAM user, so this is the IAM user that you get. ARN, AWS, IAM, this is the Amazon account ID followed by user, followed by the name of the user. Now, what you will get as an input is list of ARNs. Okay. Let's say you'll get list of ARNs for IAM users, and your task is to just get the username from the ARNs. Okay. Now what you can do is you can write a Python program, and using this inbuilt, what are all of these things? These are just strings, right? So using this Python inbuilt function that I've just explained you, you can just say split using slash, and you can get this particular username. Let's try this, right? Shall we try this with a program? Let's do that. So let's take code spaces. Okay. So make sure you also try all of these examples and you understand how Python is used from DevOps engineer point of view, right? I have taken a lot of time to prepare all of these examples so that you understand strings, numeric data types, and in future, all the data types with all the inbuilt functions, right? You can just execute all of these things and you will get the confidence of using data types with inbuilt functions. So definitely don't miss it. I'll quickly go through each of example as well. But for your reference, I have provided so that you can practice after this class. Now let's say I will write a simple file here. Okay. So let's write a file called vim test.py. So this is a test file that I'm writing. Or let's create the file here itself so that all of us can see in the terminal. So let's create a new file called test.py. So this is the file. And like I told you, let's say you get an input for a particular ARN. Of course, you don't get input in this particular way. You know, there are a bunch of operations that you have to perform before this. But let's say you got the ARN. Okay. How do you declare a string? This is how you declare a string in Python. Ignore about this particular thing. This is because I have a lint installed. So don't worry about that. So what I have done is I am saying ARN is equals to this particular string. So this is again an assignment operator. You will learn when we move towards operators. But for now, this is a string and I've assigned the value to a variable called ARN. Now, let's say my task is to just get this particular thing out of the complete ARN. I'm repeating again, this is not the actual program that you get. You will get a complete JSON payload. Then you will convert this to a dictionary. From dictionary, you will get this particular value. And from there, you will perform this last line of action that I'm writing. But because these are initial classes, I'll not write the complete program. You will get confused. So now what you can do is from this ARN, if I have to get it, like I told you, this is a string now, right? Because you have assigned a value to it. Now this is a string data type. What you can perform on top of this, ARN dot split, and inside the split, what you can do is split by this particular thing. Now what will happen? Of course, you have to put this in double quotes. Now what will happen is Python will split this into two parts. This is one part and this is the other part. Let me execute this and see first what is happening. So I'll just say print and let me run this particular program. How do I run? Python test.py. What happened? Did I create this test. Okay. I'm not in the, where is this test.py file? Okay, it's inside Day-2. So I need to switch the directory, right? CD Day-2. Wherever you are creating it, just go there and say Python test.py. So see what happened? It split into two parts. Of course, when it split, it created in a particular order. This is actually a list, but right now you don't know the list. So don't worry. If you want to just get this particular name, what you will do is you will just append something here. You will learn this when we move towards lists. But for now, because we are doing an exercise, okay, just understand that what has happened here. Okay, that's something that you can ignore. And now you can run this thing. You will see that it printed this one. And if I want a username, I'll just change it to 1. Okay. Because you people don't have experience with lists, you don't worry about this particular syntax, what Abhishek is doing here inside brackets 1. Just understand that when you use the split function, it separated this entire string into two parts. Okay. And it put it inside a list. And this is the 0 object and this is the 1 object. That is, this is list of 0 and this is list of 1. And I just try to print it, right? So this is the reason why you need to understand about the inbuilt functions of a particular data type. If you don't know this one, then it will be really difficult to print only this particular thing. Next time in interview, if someone asks you, right, if they give you a ARN and if they ask you to just print the username, This is how you do it. No, not just that. There are so many inbuilt data types. I have shared few examples. Let's say I'll give you a basic example. Okay. So let's say I have again a string called name is equals to Abhishek. Okay. So all of you need to install a particular extension called Python. Okay. So just go to your Visual Studio Code and search for Python. You will see an extension from Microsoft. Just install that. Now, what I'll do is, let's say I want to convert this to uppercase. Okay. So what I'll do, print, and inside print, I'll just say name dot to upper, right? Is this the proper thing? I hope. Oh, sorry. Just upper. I just need to say just this particular thing, right? You don't have to worry if you don't remember the exact syntax. There is no problem because this comes with practice. We don't use this particular syntax every day. And because I am using different programming languages, in one of the programming language, you just use it using to upper, right? So that's why I just got little confused and there is no problem at all. With practice, only you will learn things. So now what happens, see, the output says Abhishek in capital letters. This is another string handling function, or you can call it as string data type inbuilt function. Now let's see a bunch of inbuilt functions so that you can also play with all the inbuilt functions. Let's say you want to add two different kinds of strings. So here I have declared string one as hello, string two as world. Okay. And I just want to print by adding both these things. So what I'm doing, string one plus string two, and between the strings, I want a space. So that's why I'm just doing double quotes. And inside the double quotes, there is a space. So what will be the output of this? Any guesses? So the output of this would be hello space world, right? Let's try this and see if it is working fine or not. Again, if I do python test.py, you will see hello space world. What happens if I don't have this? If I'm just doing string one plus string two, what would happen is it will just say hello world without spaces. And now what is this program called? Because there is a plus here, it is adding. But what exactly this program is called? It is not called addition. In string terminology, we call it as concatenation, right? What do we call this? In string terminology, we call it as concatenation. This is strings concatenation. If someone asks you, do you know concatenation? Say yes, this is nothing but just adding two different strings. Similarly, let's say you are given a ARN here, right? You are given a ARN, or you are given a very long string and you are asked to print the number of lines in that print the length of that particular string. That is how many characters are available in the string. So in such cases, what you can simply do is you can use this function called len. Len, inside the brackets, you just have to provide your string. Here what I've done, text is equals to, this is the string. And now I'm trying to find what is the length of the text. So I'll just say len of text, right? And what is the output that you'll get? You will get the number of characters in this particular string. So let's try to do that. Of course, I'll not show you all the examples because I have already put them in some examples folder. So you can try it by yourself. But let's see a few things. So again, if I do python test.py, you'll see the length of the string is 17. You can count it. You have 1, 2 spaces around. All of this is required. Let's say you're not stripping this, okay? And you just print the text. Then the output would be something like this. See, there are spaces here and there are no spaces here. Perfect. So these are some string handling functions, and the assignment for you people is to perform all the string handling functions here, right? You need to execute all the string handling functions. Now, after that, integers and float are very, very simple. Like I told you, if you are declaring things like this, that is 10, 5, without any spaces, then it will be a numeric integer of type int. Okay. In numbers, they are broadly divided into two categories. One is int and the other is float. Okay. When you are talking about float, float has decimal values 5.0, 2.5, 6.7. So when you want to declare a decimal, then Python interpreter will interpret it as a float data type. And for float, you have very limited inbuilt functions. For example, you can do this called round, right? Let's say you are given a float with this particular or decimal with so many decimal values 3.141592, etc., etc., and you want to just round it to uh, two numbers after dot after point. So what you can do is you can give this particular syntax and it will print 3.14 as an output, right? Because you are rounding it to two decimal values. Perfect. If you change this to 3, what will happen? 3.145. So I wrote a very simple program to just explain how float works. Here, these are not inbuilt data types. Just I'm trying to add two float numbers and show you what is the output. Subtract, multiply, and divide and show you what the output look like. Similarly, integer has few inbuilt data types, little more than float data types. But one of the popular ones is, let's say you are given an integer with negative value and you want to convert that to a positive number. Then in such cases, you will use ABS. ABS will give you absolute value of the particular integer, right? So this is about integers and floats. There is not many inbuilt data type functions for integer and floats. But for strings, there are so many. That's why I created 7 different files and there are so many examples. Now, coming to another concept that you have to learn here. Of course, you cannot learn this particular thing in detail at this point of time because regular expressions can be very complicated and you people are very new to the programming language class here, Python for DevOps. This is just the day 2. So that's why just understand what is a regular expression first. So we will take one basic example, right? Let's say that we will use this particular thing. Okay. So let's say you wrote this particular string, which says the quick brown fox. Similarly, there are 100 another lines. Okay. So you gave 100 strings and you want to just validate how many strings have this particular pattern or how many strings have this particular thing called as quick, right? This is a complete sentence. And inside this sentence, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 strings, right? B is a string, quick is a string, brown is a string, and fox is a string. Now, inside this, you want to verify if there is a particular string or if there is a particular pattern. Let's call this as a pattern. And you want to verify if there is a particular pattern called quick. So what you can do is instead of writing a complete logic where you want to iterate through the entire sentence using for loops and all, what you can simply do is you can write a simple regular expression and regular expressions can help you to find particular patterns in a expression. Here, what we are doing, RE stands for regular expression. So RE.match, what you are trying to do is the pattern available in this particular string. That is quick available in this particular text. If the pattern is matching, you are printing yes. And if the pattern is not matching, you are printing no. Of course, we did not cover if else, we did not cover conditional handling. So that's the reason why right now I don't want to go into the depth of it, but just understand that regular expressions is a concept which will help you understand if there is a particular pattern in a particular sentence. Now, how does DevOps engineers use regular expressions in real time? This might be your question, right? I'll give you one basic example. Let's say that there is a huge log file. For DevOps engineers, log files are very, very common thing, right? So this can be application logs, this can be your infra logs, this can be your audit logs. And inside these logs, let's say there are bunch of error logs. Okay. Or there are bunch of warning logs. And these logs start with this particular syntax. That's a error logs has this common pattern called error some error. And in line number 100, there is another error. In line number 200, there is another error. In line number 300, there is another error. Now, what you can do is using regular expression, instead of going through each and every line in the file, you can just say print, you know, all the lines with this particular pattern, and it will give you line numbers and the line. So this is very useful as a DevOps engineer. So you can use the same syntax, right? So here there is only one particular line. So that's why what did you do is you just wrote it directly. When there is a log file, then you can iterate through the file using for loop or file operation. When we learn the for loops, we will use the same example. I can show you. But for now, because you don't know for loops, we are just using one particular line. We are not using a log file. And on this particular line, if you want to find a particular pattern, you will use regular expression. Perfect. So regular expression also has some common functions. We will use these functions when we go through multiple other classes. When we learn about all the different data types, we will cover all the regular expressions that are available. Perfect. So I hope you found today's class interesting. Assignment is to execute all of these programs. All these programs will execute without error. I can quickly show you. So if I just do this, go to Day-2 folder. So I'll run all of them together. Go to the examples folder. So just say, let me write a simple for loop, right? For I in ls do Python $I space done. See, all the programs are executed. What did I do? I just wrote a shell script for loop on ls. ls will give list of files, and I executed using Python command. So all of them are working pretty much good. So you can run them without any errors. So let me know in the comment section if you have completed today's video and the assignment as well. Thank you so much for watching the video, and don't forget to subscribe the channel if you haven't. And if anyone is learning Python specifically from DevOps point of view, because the examples that I'm teaching also are related to DevOps, but you can learn Python as well. So please share it with your friends and colleagues. Thank you so much. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.